Going on to you, Pisces. So you actually have the Nine of Swords, the Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups, and then the Two of Swords here. So two queens and a Two of Swords. So for you, Pisces, um, uh, okay, um, you, Pisces, right, for the year, this from the beginning of the year, next year, I'm seeing how a lot of you Pisces very much so are going into the year kind of focused on understanding people's natures, pretty much, and understanding the game that I'm giving you, but the game that you're probably studying independently from me, right? Just kind of going out there and trying to understand people's natures and how not to get like swept up in people's dysfunctions and having them pull the wool over your eyes. So it's this sense of you Pisces thinking like, in the first part of the year, right? On the first, I should say, um, uh, first 3 months of the year, something like, okay, you're going to be thinking about how to not get caught, how to not get like like fooled. You think that somebody is one way and then they turn out to be a weirdo, right? Especially when it comes to relationships, because a lot of you Pisces are probably going to be studying because you're thinking to yourself, because it's very easy for people to pull nonsense in relationships easier than it is when you don't trust them, because you already don't trust them, right? Relationships require trust. So it makes things, it takes a more trained eye for you to be able to spot it out. And so the Ten of Wands and the Ace of Swords here represents how um, it basically represents how, so there's a sense of you Pisces kind of going into the year not trusting people, right? Or not really trusting specifically romantic relationships. And the thing is that the Ace of Swords is about how like you feel like you got to get people before they get you. And what I'm you got to learn to get out. You got to learn to get off that. You got to learn to get out of that, because if that's the case, it becomes a situation where people betray each other and do other people dirty. You don't want it to be like that, where there is no such thing. You want it to be where, you know, good working relationships can actually happen. You don't want to be in a situation where you're like, okay, you don't trust at all and you're just not going to, right? You don't want it to be that way. But you may find yourself thinking about it like this towards the middle of the year. And so the things for you Pisces is that Three of Cups and the Moon card here, right, for 2026 for you Pisces is also about how, um, you know, um, okay, and then the Moon card is Pisces. So you showed up in your own reading anyway, right? So it represents how you eventually end up making your way back, because you don't feel like that towards the middle of the year in 2026 anyway. You've actually processed those emotions and you have found a legitimate cause, right, within yourself to understand that, yes, love does exist, but you just have basically a bunch of charlatans out here. But it doesn't mean that love doesn't exist. It's just that you just have a bunch of fake individuals out here. That's all that is. And so the situation with that is the Moon card now is all about how you're in a place. The Moon card is all about how you're in a place now where you basically have to, you're processing that. And then you have the Three of Cups. And so the Three of Cups represents you, again, you remind yourself what's important. So probably hanging out with your friends, probably going out on dates again, getting over what feelings you may have felt, right? Right? Getting over it. And then you have the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles here, right? The the Five of Pentacles here represents, and again, the getting over the feelings of people don't like you, and you get betrayed and everything like that. I'm gonna be real with you. You get betrayed because there's a lot. I've been saying this as of late. There's a lot of fake people. It's facts. You have a lot of people who are one way on the internet. Like, for instance, the whole YouTube thing, right? About how a lot of people kind of lost respect, for DDG and for other content creators, because DDG was putting himself out there like he was real and came up, and then DDG, come to find out, was like, yeah, like I lied in order to get the views, and certain things were scripted, and it's like, yeah, of course it was scripted. Like, things that are really not scripted like that, they're not like super polished. You dig what I'm saying? If something is like super polished and it just seems like scripted or contrived, 9 chances out of 10 it's scripted. You feel what I'm saying? And so the situation with that is that now you have the Emperor and the Ten of Pentacles. By the end of the year, you Pisces actually are doing much better you're actually doing better by the end of 2026, or towards the ending of 2026, than the majority of 2026, because you go into the new year, the top of the year in January, thinking, the fiscal new year at least, thinking that, bah humbug, there's no such thing as love, to now actually finding your way back from hanging out with people and regaining your common sense and seeing that there is a real thing, to now the Emperor, you actually feeling much better about yourself compared to how you feel now and at the beginning of the year in 2026. Much better. The Emperor, right? The goat, the greatest of all time, the mountain goat, climbing that mountain, right? With your chest out, confidence, right? And then you have the Ten of Pentacles, and see life in a different way, right? Looking at life in a completely different way, right? That, looking at relationships in a different way, that you have a lot of people that like you, but again, a lot of people are fake. So just because they may like you, like I've been saying, does not mean that anything will happen, because I may have a lot of people who may like me. It doesn't mean that I'll ever meet these people, talk to them, be in a relationship with them. None of that. But a lot of people may like me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that they're fake. But what I'm saying is that just because they may like you, and you Pisces understand that too, and you've pretty much gotten over it. So it's more so of a playful kind of approach you Pisces are taking with it, and you're gonna have, because you understand what I'm talking about. You Pisces understand a lot of people are fake. A lot of people lie a lot. They're not really being truthful, right? A lot of the stuff, people just put up a front to get you to think it's a front. They put up a front to get you to think they're more powerful than what they are. It's really on some Wizard of Oz stuff. They put on this illusion and this mask of this big face, but then you actually peek behind the curtain, you see an individual who is small. You see an individual who is helpless, right? Like they can't really help themselves, kind of thing, or they are, so, and you just laugh at it. You Pisces just look at it completely differently, and you see like there's nothing to feel one way or the other about. It's more of a reason to find joy than anything else, because your fears have been lifted away, and because you know the truth. So you're braver now. This is why your chest is sticking out. Confidence, the knowledge. So let's clarify the Ten of Pentacles. Temperance, Three of Wands, King of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and then you Pisces also have the Eight of Swords. That's my point, right? My point of it is, there it is right there, because it's a sense of how you Pisces look at it. The Temperance is about, you're real, And that's the thing. That's one of the reasons why you got the emperor. Chest is sticking out. You are real, but you're surrounded by fakes. So should you really be afraid when you're surrounded by fakes? Should you really think that you're, I don't know, inferior, right? Should you really think that you're inferior? Should you really think that you're less than because now you know that you're surrounded by fakes? No, you know what it is. And you Pisces know that you're real amongst a sea of fake people. So you got it. You're in control. And so Three of Wands and the King of Pentacles, you're going to be able to, you Pisces are learning by the end of the year how to spot fakes faster, easier, how to tell a lot of the times when people are lying, you know, how to tell. And because you'll know, right? You'll be able to sniff out lies now and be like, nah, this person is lying, right? Because you would have developed that skill, right? That spiritual skill. And then you have the Four of Swords and the Eight of Swords. So by the end of the year, right, when your things have actually worked out in your favor, right, by the end of the year, and I'm not saying that it can't work out even before. I'm just saying that socially, right, how you interact and how you engage with other people is kind of a turning point where it's kind of a roller coaster because other people are fake. So it's this sense of you Pisces, essentially your whole perspective on what you thought a relationship with is for your entire life is profoundly changing, because the reason why it's changing is because you Pisces, people have disappointed you. You're going to learn 2026 that people have disappointed you because they're fake. What you're going through is you Pisces are going through a bunch of experiences that will teach you that they're fake and why they're fake on the way there towards the end of the year. They're fake because they can't pay their rent, but they're acting like they're uber rich. They're fake and they put on this persona. They fake because they're trying to make themselves seem like this social media socialite that people like and want to hang around and getting good with and rub elbows and shoulders with people and everything like that and all of that. And you Pisces will have to go through these experiences for you to understand why. Because that's another benefit why you're getting these cards, right? The Five of Pentacles. It may look a certain kind of way, but what's happening here is this is what I'm talking about learning when they're lying. You need to go through this experience. You're understanding it's not enough for me to just tell you. You have to experience it. You have to experience people being bogus and then laugh at how they're bogus. But they so much want to sell a lie like it's real. And when you see how bogus they are, it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like now you know, like, yeah, you lying like a mug. And so the thing is that the Four of Swords now represents how, and for you, you won't go back. You'll know that they're fake. You'll know that they're lying. And so the Eight of Swords here represents for you Pisces. This is really about like, the Eight of Swords, this is really about, so you're real surrounded by a sea of fake people, right? You rule the world. You run the world. Now when people come up to you and they try to press you and all of that, you're like, yo, sit down, yo. I talked about this before about how it is that I was walking my dog a few months ago, right? I told you all about this. And that I was walking my dog and I was like, yo, what's cracking to two people, right? Just saying hi. And they was like, what? And I was like, I'm just saying hi. What's up? What's cracking? And they was, and then they was like, oh, okay, nothing, sir. Bye. I'm okay. And I was, and I was just looking at it and I was like, because if they were, because you don't get it. Because if they was really about that, if they really had an issue, Me saying that, it wouldn't have resolved it. They would have escalated the situation, is the point that I'm making. But I stood on ground. I stood on it because I was like, I'm just saying what's up. You know what I'm saying? And they said what's up too, and they left. But that's my point, though. You feel me? One of them was my height. One of them was like 6 feet and change. I'm not, you feel what I'm saying? And meanwhile, again, I got my dog there, right? But I'm not afraid to tussle. So that's my point. So when you walk around as a person who has experienced what you're experiencing, what you're gonna experience, it builds fortitude. I'm not afraid of anybody when I go out there in them streets. At all. My heart does not skip a beat going out there in them streets. You be having some people trying to act like they gangster. Come on now, people. You know what I'm saying? People in my neighborhood know what it is. They know what it is. People who know me know what it is. Again, I have nothing to prove. And that's how you Pisces are becoming. You're being very much so respected because you won't have that this, that, and the third. You're gonna be looking at people like they're full of it, and they're gonna prove you right that they're full of it and that you're real. That's it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to 100K. If you want to contact me for a personal reading, the link to that is in the comment section below, called a Linktree link. I am coming out with a virtual reality version of my Teespring store, where you can actually, if you have virtual reality, Meta, or any version of virtual reality, you can actually, enter into my store using virtual reality, pay for the products, and then you'll actually get those products delivered to you, and you can use USD, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or XRP. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one.